Today on GrowthShares, let's analyze and see whether Exxon Mobil is a great long-term investment. Exxon Mobil Corporation is an American multinational oil and gas corporation headquartered in Irving, Texas. Exxon Mobil's primary brands are Exxon, Mobil, Esso, Exxon Mobil Chemical, which produces plastic, synthetic rubber, and other chemical products. Exxon Mobil is one of the largest oil companies in the world, with 37 oil refineries in 21 countries, constituting a combined daily refining capacity of 6.3 million barrels per day. I've divided this analysis into three major factors: business, investment, and valuation. Each factor is then divided into 14 smaller metrics. Each of the three factors and their 14 metrics are given different weight, together adding to 100% of the analysis. They'll be graded on a scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being the worst and 10 being the best. When the analysis is complete, I'll give a final score. My analysis takes a long-term view of the company. That means years. Let's first look at the business. Everything starts with what the company actually does. It's more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. That's why 45% of the analysis depends on the business. Something that makes $1 billion a year might sound nice, but how is it using its resources to make that billion? Fortunately, that can be quantified. There are 8 metrics that I use to measure the business, and we'll dive into them right now. How much is the company growing? Exxon has a growth rate of 5.52%, giving us a score of 5. Is the company using its resources effectively? Exxon's have margins of 15.9%, which means a score of 6. Is the company operating efficiently? Exxon has operations of 9.2, which means a score of 0. How is the company using its invested capital? Exxon has returns of 10.13%, giving us a score of 5. How much debt does the company use? Exxon has a utilization of 1.4, giving us a score of 5. Does the company pay out a dividend? Exxon pays out a 3.55% dividend, which means a score of 10. Does the company have good governance? Exxon has an ESG risk rating of 36.5, giving us a score of 1. How close is the company to a monopoly? Exxon has primary market dominance, which means a score of 10. When we add up all 8 business metrics together, we get a score of 5.41. Next, let's look at the investments. This factor looks at the company solely as an investment, as if rendering the company down to just ticker symbols on the screen. That's why 22% of the analysis depends on its investment score. How are others seeing the company from a trader and analyst point of view? What are the numbers telling us when it comes to this? There are 5 metrics that I use to measure the investments, and we'll dive into them right now. How well has the company's stock performed? Exxon has a performance ratio of 0.3, giving us a score of 3. How do traders see the company? Exxon has a range of 38.09%, which means a score of 10. Are investors betting against the stock? Exxon has a short interest of 0.83%, which gives us a score of 9. What do other analysts think of the company? Exxon has a buy recommendation of 24%, which means a score of 2. Do big firms own the company? Exxon has an ownership of 56.9%, giving us a score of 7. When we add up all 5 investment metrics together, we get a score of 5.82. Finally, let's look at the valuation. Valuation is simple. It takes everything we've talked about and puts into a single number, the price at which we would be willing to buy the company's stock. That's why 33% of the analysis depends on its fair value price. At what price is the company worth pursuing? There's only one metric that I use to measure the valuation, and we'll dive into it right now. What is the most you should pay for the company? Exxon has a fair value price of $73.18 per share, which I consider to be expensive, which means a score of 0. As a refresher, here are all 14 metric scores. Finally, we'll add the 3 factors together to get the final score. Based on my complete analysis of Exxon Mobil, I give a final score of 3.71, which makes it a below average long-term investment. So you've made it this far. Shoot me an email. I'd love to get in touch with you and talk more. If you want to see me analyze more companies, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with other investors. And as always, take care of your money.